Man, look at this. Buttery, creamy, extra light, and fluffy mashed potatoes. I'll tell you what. The fluffiest, lightest, best mashed potatoes that you'll ever taste. You'll be shocked at how simple this really is to get them this light and fluffy. I mean, that's just, it's like there's air in it. It is perfect. Well, hello, and welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode of Texas Cooking Today, we're going to be making mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are everyone's favorite. People just gobble these things down. They're wonderful. But there's ways of making mashed potatoes that are good and ways that, well, produce a little more sticky, heavy results. And what I'm going to teach you is the way it's done in a restaurant, the way it's done so that the potatoes remain light and fluffy. You know when you go to restaurants and you get those wonderful, perfect, fluffy potatoes, and you're sitting at home wondering, how did they do it? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you all the tricks, all the techniques, everything you need to know to turn these into the most tasty, wonderful, delightful little mash you'll ever put in your mouth. So, come this way. Let's go over the little bit that we have to use, and let's get this show started. Alright, our simple ingredients for mashed potatoes. Of course, you're going to need potatoes. For this, I recommend something like a russet potato. It works really, really well for mashed potatoes. Some people like to use reds, other people like to use Yukon Gold. They work also, but those do contain a little bit more moisture in them. And the idea of mash is to cook the moisture out of the potato so that it becomes light and fluffy. And even though we're going to be boiling this, you wouldn't think that that could happen in water, but it really does, and I'll show you how. Now, also, back here I have a little cream. This is some heavy cream. You can use milk or sour cream for this. Butter, salt, and garlic. If you're going to be putting your garlic in mashed potatoes, here's how I recommend doing it. And we're not going to do it on this recipe, but I'll tell you exactly what I would normally do. I would take 3 of these cloves to about 3.5 pounds of potatoes, which is what we have here. And these will be more like 3 pounds after I peel them. I'll take 3 of these cloves and fine mince them. Put them in just a little bit of butter, about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons, and let that gently fry until they start turning about the color of a peanut. And so that's all just chopped up garlic being cooked slightly in butter. And then when you mix that into the mash after it's mashed, it comes out so much better, a much fuller, richer flavor. So that's how you'll want to do your garlic if you do mashed potatoes. And of course, salt. Potatoes are very salt thirsty, and I recommend some sort of beverage to enjoy cooking this meal. Okay? Let's get right on to prepping those potatoes. There we go. I just finished getting everything moved over to our cutting station. Now, I'm going to show you, of course, how to peel and cut your potatoes for this particular recipe. If you already know how, well, it won't interest you that much, but there's a few techniques in there you might be interested in. Also, if you see some other vegetables, it's because we're doing 2 shows here. I'm also shooting how to make a cream of potato soup. So if you want to see that show, you need to tune into it. But you're going to see a few of the vegetables and maybe some other pans related to that have nothing to do with how to make this perfect mashed potatoes. We're going to turn those perfect mashed potatoes into a soup after this show. So enjoy this. Okay, let's get right on to how to work our vegetables. Now, if you're not used to slicing, then this is going to be really helpful for you. Also, peeling potatoes. And I'm not going to peel all of these in front of you. I'm just going to show you how to do one, and then from there we're going to cut to a break and let you finish up prepping yours. But there's a little device on the market. It's a vegetable peeler. If you have one, use it. They are wonderful things, and they will peel a potato quite easily. You simply run it down the side of the potato. Isn't that sweet? Very easy, and it picks up very little meat from the potato. Another way, if you don't have a peeler, if you have a nice paring knife. Now, on a paring knife, when you're going to do this, what we're going to be doing is using the thumb and the knife. And the thumb is going to be in near proximity to the blade, so you want to be very careful. And what I'm going to be doing is, see how my thumb is here? I'm going to slide the thumb and the knife together, so the thumb never moves toward the blade like this, but they just move together. And the idea there is for my knife doesn't go too deep into the potato. My thumb becomes a guide. Isn't that swift? And I can do a potato lengthwise like this if I want, or I can work it in a spiral and just take the whole skin off the outside in a spiral motion. And like so. So what I want to do is I want to half it lengthwise, just like this, very gently. Slide your knife down and forward. Now, I want to take these and I'll either divide them into 3 parts, depending on the size of the potato, or into 2 parts. Now this one is a medium-sized potato, so I'm just going to use 2 parts. Right down in there, isn't that simple? Now, all I have to do is cut about 1-inch long slices out of that potato. There we have all of our potatoes chopped up in our pan. So what I want to do here now is just fill this with hot water and put it on top of a high flame and bring it to a boil. And I'm going to show you in just a little bit how to check this to know when they are perfectly done for mashed potatoes. Okay, let's talk for a minute about making mashed potatoes. When we're doing this, we're boiling up these potatoes. Some people would say you're just cooking water into it. But that's actually not the truth. What's happening here is moisture is actually leaving each one of these pieces of potato. And when I pull them out of here, they will be lighter and drier than when they went in. Alright. Now here's the thing. How do we know when our potatoes are fully cooked? Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to check it with a fork. You know, you hear people say, put a fork in it. Well, that started to break somewhat easy. That means they're getting there. But they're all still somewhat firm also. So I'm going to give these just a few more minutes. Now let's take a look at our potatoes. See if they're starting to look the way I wanted them to look. Now they're starting, pour off some of this water, to take on that softened, whitish looking edge I told you about. That's really a good sign right there. I put my fork into that, it breaks apart easily. See there? And it just crumbles. Okay, and the reason it's crumbling like that is because it has less moisture in it. Good thing, not a problem. I'm going to take this and pour it right in. There we go. That's easy enough. There. It's fully drained. Now all I have to do is just mill these down into the other pot and finish processing them off. Now when using your food mill, remember on these things, you're going to need to hold it close to your body to control it. Just crank that paddle. This does not take long. Not at all. See, I've already milled about half of them through there. Let's take a look at the bottom side of this. I'll show you what I mean. See all that? See in that pot well, and on the bottom how it pushes it just as little strings? Exactly what we need. Now look in here. See how light and fluffy that is? How it's just perfectly milled out? There's no substance to this now. It's all aerated. And the starch molecules have been broken apart. Now we don't want them rebonding. And to prevent rebonding, we want to keep the amount of work we do on this to a minimum. Now I'm going to put in a little bit of salt. That was about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half is what I started with. Get my butter. And what I want to do is to take my butter and just a couple pats, and I want to use about 1/4 of a stick. Now we also have that cream. I'm going to put it in there right now. And still have my burner on, still providing heat. There we go. See how they're so light and just coming apart? That's why we don't want to overwork this. We don't want to use a machine. There we have it, folks. Don't work it any more than that. At this point, you already have the perfect mashed potatoes right there. There it is. It's just as simple as that. Okay? Perfect mashed potatoes means you don't overwork them. You don't work them with a machine. You don't overwork them by hand. You let them be light and fluffy all on their own. Because you went through all of that work cooking them up to getting them perfectly light and fluffy so that they were just like they had air in them. It's just so smooth and it's buttery, right amount of salt. Didn't require salting the pan during boiling either. No. This is something that a lot of folks just make too difficult. They overwork it. If you keep it simple, use the right tools, you will every time have the best mashed potatoes on the table. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today. And if you're a subscriber, thank you very much for subscribing. If you haven't, well, what are you waiting for? These are some good recipes. Please subscribe. And you folks have a good day. Thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today, the show where you can get great recipes and the best techniques are taught. Please subscribe to Texas Cooking Today, where you will always find something hot and ready to eat.